22, right? Age, 7 to 22.
If you say it's right, it's right.
Okay, the youngest is 7, right there, and the oldest is 22, right there. Okay, so this all started because Ava was at dinner, my youngest grandchild was at dinner, and she says, how old is Grandma? She just couldn't understand 100 years, Grandma. 100 years. You hear me? So I said, so I said, well, we're going to find out what 100 years is. So in 1912, America was into becoming an industrialized nation. Woodrow Wilson was president. The second running of the Indianapolis 500. New Mexico and Arizona were admitted as states. And the mighty Titanic sank in the North Atlantic. And Bertha Platt was born.
All right.
No, you didn't. You had nothing to do with the Titanic. Grandma's wonderful and full life journey began on a rural farm in Butler, Indiana. By the time she was 7, she attended first grade at Mount Zion Country School in a class of 4 kids with a wood-burning stove in the center of the schoolhouse and toilets outside. At the time in the U.S., women had just earned the right to vote. Entertainment was silent movies or vaudeville shows, and the first radio broadcast was conducted. When she was 11, which is one of the other grandkids, her mother died, and being the oldest child, she was left to manage the house, take care of her father and her brother and sister. Stepping up to the challenge, she even taught herself to drive. That's what you said, Grandma. We've got the rules. Don't fact check me, okay? That was in the mid-20s, and the world was introduced to Mickey Mouse and the first animated movie. At 15, Grandma was in high school at Pleasant Lake, riding a Model T school bus to school. And at 17, her senior year of high school, which is another grandchild's age, she started dating Carl Martin Waymire, asking him to the senior prom, and graduating with a class of 22 kids. In the fall of 1929, the stock market crashed in the beginning of the Great Depression. Never wanted to back down from the challenge. Times were very hard and no jobs and very low pay. She managed to enroll in Tri-State College, finishing her education at the age of 19 and getting her first job paying $10 a week. By the time she was 22, she would marry her high school sweetheart, promising her love with a $7 ring. And a year later, her first son, Dave, was born. Setting up... We all know how old he is. Do you? Kind of. Setting up their family on a tiny farm with no electricity and no running water. Carrying water from a well into the house for their water supply. That was in the 30s, when bread was 7 cents and a gallon of gas was 17 cents. At 28, 2 events occurred on the same day. Uncle Don was born, and you got electricity.
Which was the most important?
When she was 34, when you were 34, Grandma, you finally got indoor plumbing, and at 38, Richard was born. For the rest of the world, the U.S. had just entered into World War II, and the first television broadcast began. In her 40s, their home got its first TV, and she started her career as a secretary at Pleasant Lake School, and her first granddaughter was born. Okay. That was in the 50s. And the world saw the first polio vaccine and the emergence of rock and roll with the likes of Elvis, Chuck Berry, and James Brown, and NASA was organized. That was just the world at the ages of her great-grandchildren. From then into her retirement years and beyond, the world is an ever-changing and dynamic environment. Just think of the changes that the world has seen since the 60s. What a wonderful and rich life you have had. I haven't even talked about your clowning experience, your writing, or all the numerous organizations that you've blessed with your energy and your wisdom. Your unwavering commitment to your family and your community, always with grace and courage that gives us all inspiration. You set the bar pretty high, Grandma, and your dedication and perseverance. Some of our favorite nuggets of Grandma's wisdom are: work hard, go to church, become involved in a service organization, take time to rest and play, get an education, be nice to people. There's no reason you can't be nice. I've heard that many times. Everyone should learn how to swim. Share a cookie with a friend. Do not go swimming in the lake. And do not go near the cornfield. And don't tell me not to worry. And I want to know when 4011 became a number.
Ask John.
And of course, there's always take your vitamins. What a wonderful and rich life you've had, and look at all the people here to help you celebrate this milestone. It wasn't easy, and oftentimes were very hard, but full of lessons and experiences that built a beautiful life and produced a courageous woman we know as Grandma, or as I like to say, the greatest Grandma Waymire. Happy birthday.
Yay!
That's great.
Thank you, Mars.
Thank you, Marcy.
Very well written.
What a party, Grandma.
Should we sing happy birthday?
You know,
Let's do.
this,
Huh? Let's sing happy birthday.
Wait, Grandma wants to say something.
Grandma wants to say something. And John and I, we took 4011.
I know. I don't know how much that is, but I think it's a big number, 4011.
It's 52.
You don't argue with John.
Don't argue with Grandma.
Oh, no.
Can we sing you happy birthday?
No,
Sing happy birthday.
1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Grandma. Happy birthday to you.
I had a little girl in school that had, her birthday was the same as mine. And she came from an Indian family. She would take a card. This is not sad, it's sad, but I don't mean to be
Right.
sad. She'd take a card and she'd scratch off the name, and then she'd put her name on it. And every year, and she never forgot her birthday. I won't tell what happened to her. She overdosed.
And she always remembered your birthday?
She always remembered, it was very special to her. I kept thinking, now this year, I won't remember.
Your birthday's kind of hard to miss, Grandma.
Kinda hard to forget, look at this. Got all these people. And you're a bunch of lovely people. I was thinking last night, 26 people. I thought it was wonderful.
Yeah, you had more than 26 here.
Grandma, have you had any birthday
Last
cake?
night was,
Oh, last night?
Have you had any cake?
I think we ought to give Marcy a hand.
No.
And then she and John will do the dishes.
Yeah,
That's where I'm headed.
it started.